Canada enjoys a relatively open political system, but there remain shortcomings in the representation that results. For instance, not since 1873 has a man with a beard led his party to victory in a federal election. History would thus be made if Jagmeet Singh leads the NDP to forming government after the vote in 2019. Of course, if Singh becomes leader of the NDP this fall, he will have already toppled a far more significant barrier. He would become the first non-white leader of a major federal party in this country's history. As much as Canada might be celebrated for its diversity, pluralism and successful integration of new citizens and cultures, the national parties have only been led by white men or women, with only a few of the latter. Singh's campaign could be viewed as test of both his own readiness and the readiness of Canadians to get behind a leader who looks like him. Or the prospect of a non-white leader could simply be viewed as long overdue, in the words of Pardeep Singh Negra, a Sikh activist who fought for inclusion as an amateur boxer in the 1990s. Sikhs, he notes, have more than 100 years of history in Canada. If we're not ready now, how could we ever be ready? He asks. The faces of federal politics have become more diverse in recent years. 4 Sikhs were appointed to cabinet when the Liberals took office in November 2015. And, according to a tally by Aaron Tully, a professor at the University of Toronto, 14% of the MPs elected in 2015 were visible minorities, resulting in the most diverse parliament in Canadian history. But those MPs were elected in ridings where visible minorities made up 45% of the population. And a survey conducted by Tully and Elizabeth Goodyear Grant, who does research in political sciences at Queen's University, found that in 54% of ridings there was not a single visible minority among the candidates for the 3 major parties. The strategic placement of visible minority candidates in only the most diverse ridings lulls us into thinking that our politics is inclusive, they wrote in 2015. Research suggests race can be a factor for voters, Tully says, but it is not necessarily decisive. Party preference is generally a more important factor. Other polling suggests Singh could face a unique challenge. A poll published in 2004 found that 30% of respondents were willing to say they would be less likely to vote for a party that was led by a Muslim, and 8% were less likely to support a party leader who was black. Granted, 10% were less likely to support a leader from Western Canada. Though attitudes toward religious communities can differ from how people feel toward specific members, just 38% said they had a favorable opinion of Sikhism when Angus Reid asked survey respondents earlier this year for their opinion of different religions. That was an improvement from when the question was asked in 2013, but still well below Christianity at 68% and Judaism at 53%. Asked about specific religious symbols, 77% said they supported the wearing of a turban in public, less than for a crucifix or Star of David.